the day the Earth let go. Lena woke up with the soft buzz of her alarm clock. She rubbed her eyes, stretched, and drew the curtains open, expecting the same view of the sleepy town that she had seen for years. But today something was off. The sky wasn't the usual pale blue. It was an intense, strange purple, like the color of a bruise. The air was still, almost too still. She shook off the unease and went about her morning routine. She brewed her coffee, checked the weather app on her phone, but everything seemed normal until she opened the front door. As soon as she stepped outside, something eerie happened. A strange, almost magnetic force tugged at her body, and before she could even scream, her feet left the ground. The ground below her faded, and the trees, the houses, the whole town shrank rapidly into the distance. Lena struggled to stay grounded, but her body began to float higher and higher. The world turned upside down. She tried to grab the doorframe, but her fingers slipped through the air as if gravity no longer existed. All around her, she saw people in the same panic, some still grasping at their homes, others screaming in terror, rising up into the sky like leaves caught in a windstorm. The sky erupted into chaos. People clung to whatever they could find, rooftops, trees, lampposts, but the invisible force didn't relent. Cars lifted from driveways, animals flew through the air, and even the very earth beneath them seemed to tremble as if it was letting go. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. She knew what was happening now. It was as though the earth itself was rejecting its people. A violent, sudden tug toward space. She fought with all her might to hold onto her porch, but her feet slipped and she was sent soaring. She screamed, her voice swallowed by the wind. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew that if she didn't find shelter soon, she'd be lost forever. Somehow, Lena's descent slowed. She blinked, confused, and found herself hovering near her house. The strange force seemed to loosen its grip, and she carefully floated back toward the ground, landing softly on her front lawn. Her legs buckled under the pressure of gravity, and she collapsed, panting. All around her, the air was filled with floating people, some still in the air, others in free fall. But she noticed something even stranger. Not everyone had left their houses. A few lucky souls, those who had stayed inside when the phenomenon began, had been untouched. They seemed safe for now, grounded. As the minutes passed, those who had been sucked into the air began to fade into the sky, and the remaining survivors huddled together, desperate. There was one undeniable truth. If they left their homes, they would become part of the sky's endless pull. They would never return. Lena didn't know how long she sat on the lawn, overwhelmed by grief for the people she had seen vanish before her eyes. There were still a few left in her neighborhood. Some were too scared to move, others were still in shock. But there was a flicker of hope. She noticed that a strange network of tunnels had appeared, caves carved into the earth, dark and beckoning. One by one, a few brave souls ventured toward them, hesitating at first, but then taking the risk of seeking safety in the unknown. Lena, heart heavy, joined them. The tunnels weren't normal, though. They twisted and turned with sharp corners, their walls damp and cold. As they crawled through the winding passages, they encountered others who had found shelter in the same way, people who had somehow been spared. Everyone was looking for answers, trying to piece together the truth of what had happened. Deep inside the tunnels, they found a group of scientists, experts who had been working underground when the event started. Their leader, Dr. Harper, explained that what had happened was beyond anything they had ever studied. A cosmic anomaly had occurred. An invisible force from the stars had begun pulling the Earth's inhabitants into space. The people who are safe inside their homes, Dr. Harper explained, they're untouched because their homes are grounded by natural forces, like the old wells or the old trees. The universe, in its strange cosmic design, is leaving those who remain inside behind. But the world above, it's gone. No one will ever return. Lena's chest tightened as she processed this information. The others around her were silent, the weight of the truth heavy on their hearts. Days turned into weeks, and the survivors formed small communities within the underground tunnels. But the loss was palpable. People grieved for their loved ones who had been lost, for the world they had known, for the homes and cities that had vanished into the heavens. Lena spent her days walking through the tunnels, meeting others, hearing their stories, and feeling the immense ache of their shared isolation. She met Ethan, a man whose daughter had been swept away before he could reach her, and Marissa, a woman who had tried in vain to hold on to her husband. Each of their stories was a thread woven into the tapestry of loss. But Lena couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more. The tunnels were meant to protect them, but there had to be more to their survival. She began to hear rumors, whispers of an ancient underground city, a place where the Earth's natural energy had been harnessed long ago. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to reverse what had happened. One fateful night, Lena and a small group of survivors set out to find the hidden city. The journey was perilous, and the deeper they traveled, the stranger the tunnels became. The walls seemed to pulse with energy, and faint lights appeared in the distance. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the heart of the underground world, a glowing chamber filled with strange technology, some of it ancient, some of it incomprehensible. The scientists had theorized that this place held the key to restoring balance to the Earth. But as they neared the central core, they realized that the cosmic pull wasn't just a random force. It was part of a larger, universal pattern. The Earth had to let go of its inhabitants in order to restore balance in the cosmos, a balance that could not be undone without great sacrifice. Lena stood before the glowing core, her heart torn. She could feel the weight of the universe pressing on her, and she knew that the people who had survived in the tunnels might have to make an impossible choice. Would they sacrifice themselves to save the Earth, or would they continue their existence in the shadows of a world that no longer was?